Welcome to this Come to Jesus Daily Devotional and Happy Christmas. I hope you're enjoying your Christmas morning today. Today's devotion is entitled The Humble Birth of Jesus from Luke 2, 1-7. We reflect on the humble birth of the King of Kings and how we can faithfully respond to this. We're going to be looking at Luke 2, 1-7 and some important lessons that we can learn from the birth of Jesus. Firstly, God's providence, or the way he leads and the way he provides, God's providence works through and is over human plans. Let's begin our reading, Luke 2, 1-3. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So behind Caesar's political decision stands the hand of God. The most powerful man in the Roman Empire unknowingly serves the purposes of the true king and God. He serves God. Ultimately, you may not know it, but he is. Human governments act, but God overrules. His plans are never hindered, never threatened. Now, for Mary and Joseph, this decree came at a most inconvenient time. They would not have wanted to do this. Mary was heavily pregnant and the journey was long. And the situation was far from ideal, travelling on a donkey, pregnant, going to Bethlehem. Yet God's timing often stretches our faith so that we learn deeper trust through obedience in enduring endurance, having to be patient. God's timings and plans are not always comfortable, but deep lessons are learned through hard obedience. God's providence is often uncomfortable, but is always perfect. Secondly, God keeps his promises. Our reading continues, Luke 1, 4-5. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee in Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. Joseph and Mary have to travel to Bethlehem, the city of David, because he belonged to David's line. And this seemingly insignificant and mundane administrative trip fulfills this centuries-old prophecy from Micah 5:2. But you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. Caesar thought he was organizing his empire. God was actually organizing the birthplace of his son. God uses rulers, whether righteous or wicked, to bring about his purposes. No decree, no government, no decision, no circumstances is outside of his sovereign reach. The Messiah would come from Bethlehem because God said he would. He always keeps his promises. Thirdly, Jesus was born, he lived, he died in humility to enrich us. Our reading continues, Luke 2, 6-7. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born. She gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths, placed him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for them. So Mary gives birth to her firstborn son and lays him in a manger, a feeding trough, because no guest room was available. Can you imagine it? In this day and age of being over hygienic, spraying everything with chemicals, boiling everything, destroying all germs, spray this, spray that, get rid of all this, clean this. In this day of being over hygienic, can you imagine placing your newborn baby, into a feeding trough? That's the conditions of Jesus' birth. Luke highlights the poverty and humility of Jesus' arrival. The eternal Son of God stepped into human history, not in privilege, prestige, but in obscurity and in need. Here are a few lessons we learn from the humble birth of Jesus. Firstly, God understands poverty and hardship. Jesus was born and raised in modest circumstances. We learn that God's provision is enough, even when it isn't what we would have chosen. We learn that sometimes the guest room isn't available. God often works through the manger moments, those situations that feel below what we would have hoped for. God values the lowly. Luke's gospel consistently shows God's heart for the poor, overlooked and humble. The one who was infinitely rich became poor so that we might share his eternal riches. So in response, are your current circumstances not what you would have chosen? Put your trust afresh in the wise and loving providence of God. Are you waiting for God to keep his promises? Remember Bethlehem. He is always at work, even when you cannot see it. Are you living through a manger moment? Things that feel humble, small, or disappointing. Embrace where God has placed you and make the most of what he has provided for you. This Christmas Day, we worship the God who entered the world in poverty, lived in humility, and died as a despised criminal for our salvation. Let's remember why he came. 2 Corinthians 8:9. For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that you, through his poverty, might become rich. God bless you and happy Christmas.